I'm like, why can't we just take the benefits of a hot shower, maybe in a bathing suit, right? We can still keep this PG, but like bring that therapeutic benefit. I can't even tell you how many patients are like, oh, my shoulder's killing me, but I get in a hot shower and I get full range of motion.
I see Dave Kittle as the guy like Tom Cruise in Risky Business. Like, you know when we're about to go live and you like slide into the room and you're like, here I am, right on time.
I'm here, baby. Let's go.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. How's it going?
It's going well. How about you? It got cold here in Ohio. Like it chilled down.
I started a fire. Like a week ago, I was having I got one of those little solo stove things in the backyard. We're hanging out, roasting marshmallows and walking around with flip-flops. And I started the fire, my wood stove in my house because I was like, it's like 40 degrees. I'm like, this sucks.
So I want to talk about banana ball, but first, Dave, this will drive you crazy. So last night we're at, 8th grade Little League, was it 15, 14U baseball. My kids, one of my twins, the twins are both on the team, breaks his wrist 2 days ago.
Oh, no.
He's one of our main pitchers. So now we're down a pitcher. We only have 2 other pitchers anyway. We're playing this team. They're doing pretty good, but we're up like 15-3. I leave thinking we're going to get run ruled. And then all of a sudden the other team makes this massive comeback. We still squeaked out like a 1-run win. But anyway, talking about baseball, I saw, and I shared the video with you guys, the banana ball. What's it called? I'm blanking out.
Savannah Bananas.
Savannah Bananas. We know that they went from baseball stadiums to football stadiums because they were selling out. Now they have a cruise. They rented a cruise ship to basically sell tickets and take their fans on a cruise. Now you still have to buy the cruise ticket. You pay for it, all this stuff. But it got me thinking, like, again, how can we look at that? That is amazing.
So wait, have they done this yet already once?
I mean, it looks like it, unless it's AI.
I don't know that they've done it. I think they're doing it. Like this one says February 9th to the 13th, 2026. But again, I'm looking at this. I'm like, all right, we saw, golf going to baseball stadiums where you're hitting golf balls into the stadium. We see the Savannah Bananas renting a cruise ship, selling seats on the cruise ship, renting football stadiums. Like, how do we bring this into physical therapy and make it an event like this?
You shared this video, and normally I can draw a decently straight line. My line might be straight. It doesn't have to make any sense between these two things. And I was like, here's my closest line. Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Are you guys familiar with Team in Training? They were smart. Leukemia Lymphoma Society wants money because they want to raise money to cure leukemia lymphoma. Nobody's anti that. They could play the Sarah McLachlan video. In an arms of an angel. Like they could find their parallel to touch heartstrings and pull.
Many ASPCA does.
Yes.
Commercials, yeah.
Right. They could do that. Right. Leukemia Lymphoma Society Team in Training said, okay, here's what we want. We want people who want something that we can give you access to. That's our hook. So they took people who wanted to one day run a marathon, finish a triathlon, do an adventure race. And they said, okay, well, here's the carrot. You raise enough money for us. We'll get you into that race. We'll get you a VIP ticket. We'll get you a coach from day one to race day. So they sold an experience in exchange for them being evangelists. Now you're like, okay, well, how is that? Where do the Savannah Bananas come into that? I feel like if we were going to do a connection with PT, it would need to be some sort of like hero's journey, right? So why is Team in Training the only one that's able to like? I mean, I got reeled into being a Team in Training coach when I was in PT school based on my PT professor doing it. So could a healthcare provider do it? Yes. But I think in PT, it would need to be a journey or a transformation or something you can't do and you want to do. In that, the Savannah Bananas, I mean, look at their tagline on this website. This is brilliant. Like their one word what's the biggest word? Savannah Bananas. They understand what they are. They are the greatest show in sports. I love baseball. Dave loves baseball. Tony's kids play baseball. It's a long board. It's a chess match. Like, there's a lot of beauty in it. But, like, as I grow older, I kind of like, I'll watch the last couple innings. I watch them play.
Hold on. For the baseball purists, we do not believe that Savannah Bananas is baseball. Full stop.
Good. Because
there are people who still watch 90 minutes of soccer for one goal or a 0-0.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally agreed. But they identified that. They said, I can't sell baseball and make money here. So they sell a show that is based in baseball or loosely based on baseball. And I mean, God, have you seen do you see the guy on stilts?
Yeah.
There's a guy on stilts.
Impressive.
He never played baseball in his whole life, but he's like, I needed a job, and he was willing to do anything. This dude, Jesse, sees him. Jesse, Yellow Tux Jesse on Instagram, whatever his thing is. He gets it. I think he got dropped in his head. So anyway, back to Tony's like prompt, which is, I think if we were to do something like this in healthcare, it would need to be an experience. Like, we are going here. Look, sales organizations do this, right? If you're the top salesperson, they take you to Barbados. Down over here is the goal. Do you want to get there? Great. Come along with us on the journey and we'll get you there. Like, they're selling the hole and not the drill.
So first, I thought it was Tony pitching, like, is the audience of this podcast, are we going on a cruise? Are we going to have a cruise? Which I think would be the easier of connecting the lines. In terms of patients, I mean, Tony's done this in the past with recording evaluations and patient encounters. So maybe there's something there where, like, I agree. So a combination of what Tony's done in the past of recording treatment visits and evaluations and follow visits with patients, bringing in Jimmy's idea of the hero's journey, that absolutely could work. And maybe it's not a cruise for the patient-facing side of things, but maybe there could be practices that do this. You get patients assigned some, Chat GPT, social media release and waiver that allows you to keep this footage on YouTube or online for as long as possible. And you follow one or more patients of yours, but not just in your clinic. Maybe you do cameras when they go to the grocery store. Maybe you have cameras when they go golfing, or that's at the end of the journey, or when they go home and they're getting in and out of bed, or, getting in and out of their recliner or whatever, like things like that. Maybe it's not a cruise per se, but I think there is still some ways to make this happen.
I think if we wanted to take this literal, I think the easiest one, you pick a condition, kind of like Jimmy was alluding to. Now, let's take me, for example, total knee replacement. And I'm like, okay, January 30th, 2026, we're going to do a total knee replacement recovery cruise. There's almost 1 million total knee replacements happening every year. If patients want to plan and schedule their surgery for the 28th, then they get on the cruise ship by the 30th. We leave from, South Beach, Florida, Miami. We do a 7-day cruise. All the rehabs included, food's included, all of that stuff is included. Dave, we've talked about destination healthcare. We've talked about going places. This is right in that. You're just doing it on a cruise ship. One more reference, and I'm sure the audience remembers this. I don't know if it was real. There's a story about a woman or a person who said, I'm not going into a skilled nursing. I'm just going to cruise around the world, go cruise to cruise to cruise, because it was cheaper to pay for tickets on the cruise line. And she had everything. She had room and board. She had entertainment. She had assistance when she needed it. There's like a full medical team on the cruise. So you're leveraging those resources that are already out there. But it could be a post-op rotator cuff recovery cruise, post-op knee replacement recovery cruise, post-stroke, whatever you want to do.
We already have the name. The funniest part is Tony always looks at the camera. He doesn't know I already have the name for his cruise on the screen. Tony, the name for your cruise is the Total Knees to 7 Cs.
I love it.
That is it right there.
All right, so price point. What are we charging this, Tony? You're going to bill some of the Medicare. You're going to do a little dabble, little insurance billing, and the cruise is going to be in the Caribbean or somewhere else. So, like, how could you make this work?
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Well, the key is they follow Tony. They're following the bananas on a cruise. Cruises leave every day, but you follow Tony, right? And then you follow the other people on your journey. Like with team and training, using that example, you're a team. You followed your coach, but also like you got these bonds. So there's a lot of psychological and emotional components into something like this. I think it's a winner.
You know, you guys just reminded me talking about following people. I've got a Facebook message from somebody I don't know who said, quote, "OMG, I've been looking for you. I have a left TKR scheduled to be done tomorrow morning. I need to find your videos, exclamation point. They helped me for the first 2 years, but I forgot about it. I'm bone on bone, yada, yada." So like, I get these messages from random people from my Facebook group, YouTube channel, Instagram, all that stuff constantly. These are people with high urgency, high need. They're desperate for that, but they feel connected to me, to the community. My Facebook group for knee replacement, I'm going to look it up right now. It's got almost 19,000 members.
It's wild.
I didn't prompt this. One of the guys in the Facebook group, he created his own meetup to get people and members to connect. Like, I bet I could get, I don't know, 50, 100 people to join me on a cruise from that Facebook group. And to Dave's point, I don't know what you would charge. You have the cost of the cruise, then you throw a upcharge on top of that for coordinating it all. And of course, my time. I mean, this could be a, $50,000 payday to go on a cruise. And I love cruises.
Oh, I remember when these were starting, I was early in radio and it was like Scorpion and Poison and these 80s bands, and their fans were like, now they had some cash, and you're like, hang on a second, I can hang out with Sebastian Bach on a cruise. And of course, yeah, you got a show, and you were around other people who dug, Poison or whatever, hair bands were on the cruise. And then there they are. They scheduled like different meetups for them to walk by. In radio, I did a Dave Matthews Band cruise to a private island or something. Where, and this is what I was going to say, how do you scale this? Maybe if you were an ATI, an Athletico, an IV Rehab, something big, right? You offer up a seat or a cabin on the cruise, one at every clinic in the country, right? It's not necessarily a contest, but like to win your way in or to be in the running, you have to do something, complete your plan of care, something. Now we get into some murky areas, right? Because now we're talking about like healthcare money, but like, I think if you use the carrot the right way, because in radio, we do this. We'd have these extravagant prizes. Now, I was one rock radio station amongst like 82. So we'd get one budget for all 82. And it would be like the top prizes would be so expensive. One station wasn't going to be able to float that. But what we said was each station will get one national winner. But now you get to say there's a chance at a flight around the world or a cruise for 90 days or something like that. So you can leverage size into getting into this. So there's a couple different ways you can play this.
Cruise for 90 days. Who's going on a cruise for 90 days?
People did
insane.
Wacky
That is
stuff.
Insane. That is changing your life.
David flips the audience here and says, maybe do a CEU cruise, not get all your CEUs on a cruise. And he's a smart guy marketing CEU cruise education units. There is a company doing that. Do you guys have heard of Jet Set Rehab? They do like CEU things, but they're like, we're going to Cozumel. So they put Cozumel. I'm sure all of the clinicians are going there for 100% learning.
Of course.
To love the fact that they're doing it in Barbados or whatever. But Jet Set Rehab has been doing this for a couple of years. They understand, like, let's do it. Why are we no offense to Iowa, but why are we doing this in Iowa for a 3-day weekend? Why not do it in Cozumel, where every day when we get off at 3:00, when we're done, we're in Cozumel?
For a second, just to go back to Dave's question about charges, billing, cash covered. The ironic thing here is when we were in Florida, we had snowbirds that would come down to Florida. Even if they were staying in a hotel, technically that hotel is their home. Medicare Part B covers outpatient therapy in the home or in the clinic. This is clearly a covered service if it's, 48 hours post-op total knee replacement. So you could theoretically say 7 nights on the cruise, this is the patient's home. That's a $700 roughly plan of care paid for by Medicare, plus the self-pay portion of it that's not covered by Medicare. It could be a profitable endeavor.
I like a high ticket offer for this, and it says, you get this, the whole value stack, right? You get to go to this, you get to go to, this destination. You have this team of nurses and physical therapists and maybe a physician or a PA or someone on the shift, you get access to whatever, like a daily physical therapy visit and maybe some other ancillary services, massage or, whatever. You get all of this. And I think you would just have it as self-pay. And I feel like it would just be a little more of a headache to then be like, oh, let's see, like this person, we got to track this person. We got to track this person with Medicare and bill this. And some of the people that come on the cruise maybe are not Medicare age, and maybe some of them are 100% self-pay, or some of them are like, do you take my in-network insurance, my United Healthcare, whatever. So if they're already paying for this, like this example of a banana cruise, Banana Land, I think it would just be easier to have like a big ticket offer, 5 or 10 grand or whatever, or maybe more, and you get all of that included.
Now, I'm going to go the reverse way. I want to take something away from the Savannah Bananas, right? Like, they didn't even invent this. Like, he and his wife bought this AAA franchise or whatever it was, this Savannah Bananas. They renamed it the Savannah Bananas. It was something else before that. They gave it this ridiculous name. But look where they stole this from. This is the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah.
They were doing this back in the whenever days, right? They yes-anded it, and they're doing it in an era where it can spread like wildfire, and they understood this. Like, I think the Harlem Globetrotters understood two things. Like, would you say they're basketball players? Well, I'm sure the basketball purists, just like baseball purists, like, that's not it. But your kid would be dragging you by the wrist going, I want to see this. They were ridiculous athletes. So not taking it away 100% from Jesse and the Savannah Bananas, but there was a blueprint for this. So there was a little bit of proof. Now, they had to do the $1 million thing, which is execute on that thing and literally push. They mortgaged their house. They had to push all their chips in the middle and go and triple down on this. So believe me, I'm on this guy's bandwagon. I was just clicking around like, are they hiring? Like, geez, what could I do for this Savannah Bananas? I'm in. But smart move. But there was some rails there.
So why do you think Harlem Globetrotters declined and Savannah Bananas is on the way up? Like, how do they prevent themselves from going down the Harlem Globetrotter path?
Harlem Globetrotters probably didn't utilize enough of multimedia because that was probably before. They didn't have it. So they phased out. Savannah Bananas are completely obsessed with TikTok and Instagram and getting. Not that they're chasing views, but they are chasing memorable moments, or what we talk about all the time, remarkable. It's where something interesting enough where you make a remark about it, something so interesting that we share it here, you and I, us three, we send it to each other and then we talk about it here on the show. They're so focused on that whole approach that, assuming they keep going this way, I don't think they're ever going to fade out the way that the Harlem Globetrotters did.
I think. And I would have to go, but this is be an interesting case story. Why did the Harlem Globetrotters die? I bet you the answer is they failed to evolve, because that's the answer with dinosaurs. Somebody, although this just came to mind, somebody tried to pick up the torch from the Harlem Globetrotters. Do you know who it is?
No.
You do, though. You've heard of them. The And One mixtape.
And One mixtape, yeah.
Yes. I didn't think about them until right now. I was like, oh, yeah. They created characters. You've got the professor. You had Escalade, like the big, huge dude with crazy moves. Like, he shouldn't be able to move. They had a bunch of characters, and they were all, I mean, look at the name, mixtape. It was all about like piecing moments together. You're seeing this in smaller chunks too. Of you guys, I'm sure you've come across, especially Dave, with what you probably click on social media. Like, there's this like wiffle ball league that plays in a warehouse, and then all they do is show you these moments. And I'm like, is this a league? It's probably just a bunch of dudes who get together for 3 days and film everything. And I remember I was supposed to bring this up on the show. Wow, we're having a lot of connected moments today. We have no outline. There is something for gyms. Okay, so gyms have cameras. So the ad that I saw looked like content. And what they said was, put up cameras at your pickleball court at your gym. And it's just recording the whole time. But what am I going to do? Have an intern go back and look through 12 hours of footage for a cool moment? They installed a big red button right next to the pickleball court. You can't help but want to know what it is. When you have an amazing play or something happens, you punch the button. And it freezes the moment or tags that moment. So somebody now just gets a report of 6 or 7 badass highlights that happened at your gym. So now you sit down and you're like, I'm going to edit 5 videos come play at Gold's Gym Newburgh or whatever it is. We got pickleball courts. Cool. Nice drone shot of the pickleball courts. That's an ad. But watching a random dude who signed a waiver, knows he's being recorded, and is now creating content for you. So I remember I tagged that. I put it in, I think, our group chat. And I wanted to say, like, how could we spin that idea? I forget what the name of the button was, but essentially it was just like, make our content for us. Like, write down the time stamp of when that happened. No, punch the ungodly huge button, do us, and we're going to highlight you. If you just like dunked on your best friend in like,
I got it. I got it. There's some clinics around the country that have a bell that you ring a bell when they're discharged, like the patient's being discharged, including Spiro Clinic, which I highlighted on my show before down in Arkansas. So when you get discharged from their program, you ring a bell. They have it on Facebook. They have it on Instagram. They record the patient ringing the bell right near the door. Steve Linton, who I went to physical therapy school with, he's working with Ivy Rehab somewhere in PA, and they do it. They do the same type of bell ringing. There should be a happiness button just like this in physical therapy clinics. You hit the happiness button. Maybe it's like a little corner of Tony's office, and it's got the tripod and the camera already set up, or maybe it's faced towards the clinic or whatever. And it's like instantly capturing the peak of happiness, right? So you got the stiff knee, the total knee replacement stiff knee. Regular PT didn't work for them. They go to physical therapy with Tony Maritato. You know, he does some magic. He may not even touch them, but they get 15 degrees of knee flexion. All of a sudden, it's like peak happiness. They hit the button. Tony, records the content. They already signed the waiver. He puts it on Instagram. He puts it on Facebook. He puts it everywhere. Boom.
Yeah. It's the opposite of the lunk alarm. So at Planet Fitness, they have the lunk alarm. This would be like something opposite of that, an easy button kind of thing. Yeah. I'll tell you, my kids, we have a Ring camera in the backyard. We have a 30 by 30 sport court. They're constantly out there doing trick shots and doing stuff. Every time they do something cool, immediately they run in, they grab the phone that's got the Ring camera on it, and they look to catch that on film. And then, of course, they clip it. Then if they wanted to, they could share it and do that stuff. I mean, it's just once you have the appropriate consent forms in place in a physical therapy clinic, you just run 24/7 footage. You just have the cameras going because you never know when it's going to be caught. But when it is, then like Jimmy said, you push the button, you celebrate, big cheers. And now you've got that clip that would have been lost forever. That value would have been lost forever if you weren't recording.
So now you have the clips. Right? What do you do with it next? And I was thinking of this the other day while I was drinking in a bar, and I know it's going to shock many of you. Have either of you or both of you heard of Chive TV?
No.
So Chive TV essentially came along, and they were probably sitting around drinking in a bar, and they saw how many screens were on the bar. But there's only sports on so many hours of the day. I mean, we have a lot of sports. There's a lot of stuff on TV, a lot of the hours of the day. What Chive TV said, they looked at all the sports bar TVs playing news or whatever at noon on a Saturday when there were no games on yet. And they said, what would sports fans like to watch? Now, no offense, I can't watch a baseball game I know was recorded yesterday. For some reason, it's like spoiled milk. I just can't do it. As soon as the minute I find out it's not live, I don't care. Yep. Chive TV takes all these moments, Tony's kids in the backyard, the funny moments, the kid jumping over the fence and his underwear gets caught. They put it all together, just like old school Comedy Central. There was a bunch of videos about somebody getting dunked on basketball. And Chive TV is a 24/7 highlight reel TV station of all the best reels that you have to flick through to find the good ones. They just play sports related and prank related, and they group them together, and there's funny things. So they turn to bars and they go, hey, you want to use our channel? It actually it's something engaging when there aren't games on. And they go, sure. And what does Chive TV do? Does all the work of stripping together or piecing together all the funny stuff to keep people engaged? And they put some ads in it. So the bar is probably getting a nickel for running Chive TV X number hours of the day, and Chive's running ads and reselling that attention. My thought was, what could be playing in clinics across the country? I've been to clinic franchises. You know what it usually is? Clinic branded ads. Did you know we now have an aquatic center at our Main Street location? Look at grandma getting in and out of the pool. That's a great ad to run. One per 15 minutes. Where's the content though? right? They use them as message boards, which I think is wrong. Chive TV looked at blank or boring screens at sports bars across the country, and they go, how do we get on all those screens, pay someone for it, and make more money? I don't know what the clinic version of that is.
Well, so first, the content is, like you said, engaging, because it's almost like that America's Funniest Home Video type content.
Right. It's 24/7 America's Home Videos.
And they're aggregating this content, and then they're paying the bars a little bit just to show it on TV, on their TVs, or a couple of their TVs or whatever.
Yeah. So that's the thing I want people to get is there are a lot of people that create social media content. That's the wrong way to do it. Flip it. Create media that is social. You don't have to ask people to watch Chive TV while they're having a bacon cheeseburger. They can't get their eyes off of it. But we're hoping that if we run enough bulletin board ads on our clinic flat screen, it'll sell an extra plan of care. I think that's the wrong way to do it. David is saying, running some ads for potential retail items in the lobby. Perfect. But I would say, how often are commercials on TV? Every, 12 minutes? You're going to get in an hour, you're going to get 12 minutes of ads or something like that. Great, but you have to earn their time for the other 48 minutes of when that thing is running, or else it is all noise and no signal.
All right, not to totally pivot, but staying kind of on track, I was watching an interview with the people that developed Bear Paddle. Bear Paddle, it seems like we're sticking with a water theme. Bear Paddle is a swim school for kids. We have one here. We took our kids when they were little. I grew up in Florida. Swimming was just always second nature. I didn't realize there were people who didn't know how to swim. Now I'm like, oh, we're in Ohio. My kids need to learn how to swim. Two parts of this. One is, I looked this up, the company's mission statement. It's not like, hey, we teach your kids how to swim. It's save lives by teaching children how to swim in a fun and supportive environment. Save lives. That's what this company does.
Yep.
This conversation kind of went from, okay, I'm looking at Bear Paddle. Then I was thinking about, why aren't more therapists who want to do aquatic programs going to a place like Bear Paddle and renting the pool when they have their slow time and bringing patients there to do aquatic therapy. And then I'm standing in the shower this morning. It feels so good. The hot water is running on my back. I'm like, holy crap. Why have we not taken shower therapy into the clinic? We see these baths and pools, and it's such a hassle, and you got to drain the pool and clean the pool and do all this stuff. I'm like, why can't we just take the benefits of a hot shower, maybe in a bathing suit, right? We can still keep this PG, but bring that therapeutic benefit. I can't even tell you how many patients are like, oh, my shoulder's killing me, but I get in a hot shower and I get full range of motion. My back is killing me. I get in a hot shower and I let the jets pulse on my lumbar spine and I feel so much better. I'm like, bring that into a clinic environment, productize this type of therapy. I think there's a huge opportunity there. And I think it's so much more easy to do showers than it is to do aquatic pool therapy. What do you guys think about that?
Tony wants to do shower shows. That's what we're doing now in the clinics.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a unique idea.
You're saying do it for therapeutic value, like bring a shower into the clinic and then they have that or something similar, like it's a bed, you lay on it.
Yeah, I'm not talking about a bed. I'm talking about, you have 20 stalls. You have people in bathing suits doing hot showers, different jets, different pulses.
What could go wrong?
Non-slip floors. No, but I really think somebody could take this and turn it into a full-fledged program. Nobody else is doing it. Never seen it. Never heard anybody even consider it. But every single person tells me how amazing a hot shower feels. Of course, you got the other side with, there's the cold one. You got cold showers.
Remember those cryo sprays? We all talked about this months ago behind the scenes because one of us sent each other a video of one of these professionals with some cryo spray, and they just they put some it's like you sit down on a chair and there's some,
it looks like a pressure washer. It's like a gun that shoots this cold stuff.
it's theater. It's part theater, right? So like my gut reaction is that's ridiculous, but there are stretch plexes, right? Like, but I could do this at home, but the point is you don't have to do that at home. So like I have now like, Scott's saying, look up myofascial release techniques in the shower. It's a thing. This is my not shocked.
Well, we talked about massage and soft tissue work in the tub, in the water, in a pool.
No, you're the only one that wants this.
Do you have to get certified to scuba certified, or how's this work? Are you underwater the whole time? You charge more because it would
walk in with flippers and a snorkel.
If someone's watching or listening, if you're new to the show, Tony Maritato does not like land-based manual therapy, but he is okay. He is okay with manual therapy while sitting in a hot tub, which is bonkers. It just blows my mind. I don't know. Maybe you want to elaborate. Maybe you want to move on. I don't know.
No, I've got nothing else to contribute.
Scott was asking for, he said, how would your state practice act come into play while providing skilled therapy services out of the country on a cruise ship? And my answer, without actually being smart at all, this is not legal advice. It's pirate therapy. There are no rules once you're 3 miles offshore. We can do anything we want. PT, pirate therapy. That'd be great. Set up and buy an old, here's your new business model. Buy an old oil rig, 3 miles offshore. That's your clinic. And then you just ferry people out there. The nice experience on a boat, therapy, no rules. I can dry needle anything I want out there.
Did you see that the Mexican Navy ship just crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge last week?
That was nuts.
Was it Mexican?
Yes. Mexican Navy.
Yeah. I mean, that looks like a pirate ship. We need to go on to, I don't know, eBay. Where can we buy a pirate ship? We got to go somewhere online, and we'll see if we can buy a pirate ship.
There's one cheap right now. It's in Brooklyn.
The cruises go out into international water, don't they? Like we're outside the jurisdiction of any state practice act.
Right. That's why there's casinos and whatever on cruise ships, and you can't use them in port. But you can as soon as they hit like this imaginary line offshore. It was a great pirate therapy.
Okay, so then my other question is, here in Ohio, and I don't know the full laws yet. I haven't looked into it that deep. During one of the last cycles, we legalized recreational use of marijuana, I think, but medicinal use has been legal for a long time. My question is, why don't we have like a hookah kind of club or happy hour PT? I don't know BYOB what the rules are. I looked it up before for this show, but I'm like, all right, we know people prefer, drinks or weed or whatever, relaxes you, reduces anxiety, improves mindset, all this stuff. Why don't I do a 5 o'clock hour group therapy? We exercise, we do manual therapy, we do all these things with those kinds of medicinal use interventions.
Tony, it'd never be at 5 o'clock. It would always be at 4:20. Okay,
4:20. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Zinger. When my first job out of school, outpatient therapy in New Jersey, and I worked 3 nights of the week, where the last patient was scheduled at like 7 or 7:30. We were closed at 8 p.m. Guys, I got to tell you, if we can make this legitimate with maybe it's a cash pay practice, maybe you can't use the word physical therapy or whatever. The amount of patients from the 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock hour that said that specifically, that were getting physical therapy, and they're like, hey, it would be so cool if we could have like wine and like cocktails or a beer or whatever. The amount of times that patients said that to us at that clinic, this was in New Jersey, it was like suburban New Jersey. I can't even recall, but it was like at least dozens of times. I was only there for like 2.5 years. So like folks were mentioning it often. Now, of course, like, can you make a whole business just around that? And it's like, I don't know, a therapy practice that's like a restaurant. It's open from like 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. or I don't know, like 2 p.m., like just a dinner, or, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. or whatever. Could you make a business out of that? Maybe. That would certainly be a great social media, cameras always recording. Now we're putting the pieces together, guys. The video recording from earlier in the show to the patients that are, having drinks and having the theater of physical therapy and medicine and treatment, all that. It could work.
Now, my professor in PT school, Sky Donovan, has a PhD in biochemistry, and she gave me the lowdown on a beer after a hard workout. She said it actually has like the perfect nutritional balance of what you need, like the perfect amount of carbohydrates So like serving up an IPA when you're rehabbing your TKA, I don't know, my friends. It feels like we could have our own brew here.
Scott says it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Little Jimmy Buffett, not Jimmy McKay.
Unless it's 420, Scott, right? Because then we're talking about two different things.
Well, 5 o'clock for the hurricane drink, 420 for other stuff. If schools are using ketchup and tomato sauce on pizza for justification of a vegetable in the meal plan,
wild.
We can absolutely use some of these cocktails. I used to know a very close physical therapist who is delivering in-home outpatient care. And before she left this patient's home, every single time she had to make him a Manhattan. That was part of the deal, you know? So if we're going to put people on heat or ice or E-stim at the end as kind of the treat for the hard work, even if we're not doing the cocktails during the workout, why aren't we doing BYOB? If we can do it legally, we can do it ethically. I think it's an amazing opportunity. And now, now we're talking, okay, I can't charge for the Therax beyond what Medicare allows, but you better bet I can charge to prepare your gin and tonic. PT on ice. I love it.
PT on ice. PT on the rocks, PT on ice.
Is it to go to Jeff Moore? What's Jeff Moore's organization?
ICE. Yeah, it's like an acronym. I don't know.
Yeah.
ICE. I mean, steal this idea. I have a steal this strategy for today. It wasn't the Savannah Bananas. It's something else. All right, still in this strategy today. I look for strategies everywhere. So here's what creating content feels like, because I talk to a lot of people who are trying to start, because now they're all late on the bandwagon, right? Create some content, become a media company within your own clinic. It feels like a treadmill. It costs time, even if someone else is doing that. There's some money or time invested. And maybe it's still not growing your clinic fast enough. I don't know if I would go with a straight content strategy if I was going to start a clinic from scratch. Content marketing is hard. You're stuck trying to post forever. There's no break. It means every day or every patient, you're breaking this thing out. Without doing it, there's no payoff. But what if you didn't have to create content forever? What if you stole the strategy of a company like Netflix and launched content like Netflix drops a season or a new show with a premiere date, a clear theme, and a finale that actually drives business? So now looking, instead of just saying, I have 365 days of content to create, no, I don't. I'm going to do quarters. I'm going to do seasons and just creating a new theme around that season. So this idea just sort of breaks things down and looks at it like a Netflix season. Netflix doesn't drop one episode a week. They typically launch a season, bingeable, branded, and promoted like an event. It works because it's focused creative sprints. You could be working on it for 2 months in the background and then blast this thing out, and you've got 3 months. So I tell people all the time to do more bingeable recording sessions or bulk recording sessions. You now have a predictable schedule, built-in urgency. Get this while it's hot. This almost piggybacks on the Chive example, which is there's a bunch of content. You can now run ads for you or the products in your clinic in your own content, but you have to double down and invest in it. Then when that's over, like Stranger Things is everywhere. And then it's gone. It's gone. And then something else 3 or 4 weeks later comes and they understand how attention and news cycles work. So how would you make this work in healthcare? I would say introduce content seasons. 90-day cycles will stick to 3 months. Pick a theme, spring back stronger, winter pain reset, bulletproof your knees. Create your seasons, 4 to 6 core pieces of content. Obviously, video is pretty much king right now. Audio's not far behind. A kickoff video, a bunch of promos, right? Create that big piece of content. And now you've got stuff to create smaller movie reels, movie trailers from it. And then drop it like a show. Pick a date, promote it internally and externally like an event, and then recap. Here's what you missed this week on, Real Housewives of Iowa. And then reset. Now you're not on the content treadmill anymore. You're in control. Sprint, rest, strategy. This sounds almost like rehabilitation. Sprint, rest, repeat. So the next time someone says, what's your clinic doing for content? You say, we don't do content. We drop complete seasons.
So where are you putting that?
I put it everywhere. I mean, so now we say content is king, but distribution is the Pope, right? You still have to distribute that. So that's where earning an audience. I was going to say a lot of clinics doing it. I don't see a lot of clinics doing it. The only one I've seen it coming close to it is Rehab to Perform. They understand who they're actually marketing to. A little bit of patience. I would say 20% people potentially wanting to work there. Come there as patients, 80% people wanting to work there. Why would that? They're almost the Savannah Bananas of rehab. That's the closest thing that I have seen. There might be others, but they haven't reached me, and I'm looking around a lot. They don't do necessarily the themes. Theirs is almost like ESPN 24/7, where they touch on different things, but I could see them easily taking the strategy and just tweaking it a little bit and putting it in the mix of doing that.
Dave, any thoughts?
Well, if you're watching or listening, like I'm in the same boat of like, I need both of your opinions on if I want to do this. It doesn't matter if I'm mobile or if I am brick and mortar. Of course, I know you guys are going to say to start on the iPhone, but I want a complete solution of like, if I record this, let's say because I don't want to do anything. I want to record it. I want to record this stuff with patients maybe, but can I put that in Google Drive and then have someone else edit it? Like real quick, maybe like in a minute or two. Can we just review like, what are my options? Maybe you guys drop a link later on like cameras once I get like I fill up my iPhone or I got to pay for extra storage on my iPhone. What are my options as a practice owner? If I want to get this up and running, I get patients that agree to do it and I want to record content, but then I got to have an editor to kind of chop it up. I don't want to do it. And what are my options?
You're not going to do it. And you're very forward thinking and forward doing. You're going to do it for a little bit and then not. Because I'm the same way, right? We're all the same way psychologically. So I would have two options. One is a team would come in, show everybody on your team what to buy, how to do it, what the processes are, give them a blueprint, run them through the blueprint. Everybody feel comfortable, good, great, see you later. And that's one cost. The second would be we come in once a quarter and we work like crazy for one price, knowing whatever price you're paying, it's going to be turnkey. You give us access to your Instagram page from the back end. So that is how we post. We're going to post it and schedule it, write the caption. We're going to do everything turnkey, similar to how Tony bought X amount of 50,000 words for his website. It's like, Tony could have figured it out. Like, it's not rocket science writing articles, right? Tony didn't pay someone to write articles for his SEO. He paid someone so he didn't have to do it. So I would say he could have also done a weekend course. Here's how you write keyword stuffed articles for great SEO. Here's the blueprint. Come and learn from me or watch my videos or come do it for me. I almost feel like we do it with Dave. I'll find a videographer. We'll do it for Dave for free. Let's test this thing out. Let's do it.
I mean, like myself or my therapist could do the video capturing on their iPhones, but then could we use Google Drive or some other portal where then we pay you guys or whoever else to take the files, to edit them, to keep some long form, to chop them up to short form, 10, 15 second, reels and clips and all that. Like, I want to pay for all that. Maybe we can do the videoing on our phones or whatever, but I don't want to do the editing and then maybe pay you guys also for, doing the captions and posting them online too.
Yeah. I would say you come in and you teach your staff, here's how you take a good picture. Here's how you take good video. Here's what B-roll is. Here's how much B-roll we need for each patient. And then every time you hit record, it is automatically going to a Google Drive. And then we take that, we understand. But you have to, if the person shooting is going to be one of your clinicians, they need to understand what the final product we want it to look like. This is why you do, like, if you're going to do B-roll of a patient walking down the street, you shoot them from behind, you shoot them from the side, shoot them from the front, you shoot close-ups of their hands, like different things. Give them a shot sheet. That's called a shot sheet. You give them a shot sheet and you say, I need at least 6 of these out of 10 for us to turn this into a vignette for that patient. Ask them these 6 questions and just record them face on with the audio. Because now the videographer's going, I got the B-roll and I've got the audio and the one-on-one, the close-up that I can mix together, but spell it out for clinicians. They're smart. They'll figure it out. And they don't need to be convinced on where the ROI is on this.
Tony, what do you think? You went quiet. What do you got?
No, I'm listening. I'm thinking. It reminds me. So one of the issues, I'm going to give the issue and I'm going to give the solution. One of the issues to the idea of like, okay, let's create a season of something. I love it. I think it's awesome. I think that's the right way to do it. You put it on social media and it's going to be gone in a week. And then what? Like, it's hidden. The advantage that Netflix has is when I go to Netflix, I'm on their platform. So they can continue to suggest what I might like. And that season recorded 3 years ago might still keep coming up. So they can keep putting it in front of me. But if I'm a private practice owner and I put it even on YouTube, which there's videos from a decade ago that still come up, it's hard to get that stuff pushed. So that's why I'm on the treadmill, the content treadmill. I never get off. I never stop. But I was watching a YouTube interview. This guy, Omar, he used to work for Think Media. He left. He went on his own. I can't pronounce his last name, but he was interviewing a woman. And she was like, look, I only do paid media. I only do ads. And this goes to Will Boyd, who was on the show not too long ago. He said the same thing. But this woman was like, I didn't have internet access. I only had a phone. I couldn't upload videos every day. So I could make one piece of content, pay for that content to get pushed in front of everybody. And now for a year, I never had to make another piece of content again. So you take Jimmy's idea, create the season, let it run organic initially, but then pay to push it out there, especially if it shows that it's something people want to watch. And now this is like right in Dave's world. Now you don't have to keep creating that content. You get it done right the first time. You let it test itself, prove itself that it has worth because people watched it organically originally. And then you just put paid ads behind it to keep pushing it out to new audiences, bigger audiences.
But you work ahead, right? That's the thing I hear from people. Like, you know, Tony will run this challenge in like the Facebook group, right? Every once in a while, a 30-day challenge. And a lot of people, I mean, I don't have any data to back it up, but I can only draw the graph. Everybody's here. They're all in. A few do video 1, 2. And then we slowly like, what is that challenge going on? Right. It's simple, not easy. What if you took my first idea, Tony's yes and layer this in? You only create content one every 3 months, 1 out of every 3 months. If you're a clinician, right? So you only have to be releasing. Sorry, let me say releasing. So you're recording content for 2 months, and then it's your turn to release everything that you just did. And then you stagger that with 3 or 4 clinicians. So there's your active content that is coming out every single day. The deeper movie stuff, the My 600-Pound Life episodes, takes a while to shoot, record, produce, and release. That's your movie. So you've got TV, which could be live and turned around very quickly. And you've got movie quality, deeper, longer form, harder to produce stuff in the background. I think you only need 4 of those a year, 4 themes. But then you could have the stuff that Tony's making with CapCut, or as James says, Opus Clip AI or other. And those are great. What I'm also saying is these tools are fantastic. I could go to Home Depot right now and buy enough tools to build a house. Jimmy should not be building your house. I have access to the tools, but am I actually going to use them well, and use them regularly? I don't pay someone to cut my hair because I couldn't figure it out. I pay them because I don't want to risk looking like a jackass for two or 3 weeks. Why not just pay Rod down the street because he's my man? So what I'm saying is this will not be for everybody, but the general concept is instead of looking at like a treadmill, look at it like 4 movie releases per year and also sprinkle in some reactive stuff as well.
And I think if you dollar cost average it, you say, hey, okay, I'm going to invest $5,000 in some great content, but that content's going to take me, the next 12 months. Like it's going to carry my business through 12 months. That's very different than somebody like thinking, man, $5,000 and I got to do this every month.
Every month.
No, you make one big investment. That's what I did. It was 100,000 words of content before ChatGPT. Right. It was $7,000. I would never normally spend $7,000, but I knew that this was going to be a year's worth of material that I was just getting right now, and I knew that I was never going to do it because I had fallen off that wagon 100 times already. Yeah. I've got the best of intentions, but I don't have the follow through. So I had to outsource that.
Here's how I look at this. When I was in college, Jimmy wanted to own a bar. Then I went to work for Uncle Frank for a summer, and I was a bartender, and I got to do bartender stuff. And at the end, my Uncle Frank, he knew where this was going. Uncle Frank goes, Jimmy, do you want to open a bar now when you graduate from college? I said, no, Uncle Frank, I want to go to bars. I don't mind being a bartender 2 nights a week because that's awesome, but I would not want to do this 5 nights a week. But that's a great way to expose it. Now, what I wanted was energy, being around people, right? I realized it was not in a bar, and owning a bar is way different than going to a bar or just being a bartender. Like, so what I'm saying is people now, I don't think you have to convince many clinic owners or business owners that being in front of people is terribly, terribly valuable. Like, you need to be doing it. Are you going to do it though? Or are you going to start and fade out? If it's important, and I think we said this years ago, it used to be media companies had tech divisions. Now tech companies have media divisions, because I left radio because I realized that wasn't this. I couldn't be one of 6 radio stations in a market and actually compete. Every single business is potentially their own TV, radio, and newspaper organization. And you have to act like that. Start hiring either full-time, which Rehab to Perform does. If that's not scalable, fractionally. Hiring someone to come in and work for you all the time in the background, or come in 4 times a year and create stuff for you. I like Scott's idea for Dave. Dave, shoot a day in the life video of a New York home therapist. Videos highlight all the struggles and challenges of treating patients all across the city and the difference between different boroughs. This would be a great video series for Dave to do to recruit people to work with him, right? This is the few, the proud, the Marines. Dave doesn't want someone who is going to coast along to apply to work for him, and then he hires them, and 3 months later, they're like, my feet hurt because I'm walking around New York City. What did you think was going to happen? I don't like riding on subways. What are you doing here, right? So this would be, if you created, here's how I would start. Do 5 videos. Follow one person in each borough because it's cute. Or neighborhoods. Do like where do your therapists, are they generally zoned in different areas?
Mostly Manhattan and Brooklyn, a little Queens, not right now, but sometimes in Greenwich, Connecticut area, Westchester.
So do a video on each therapist. This is, I mean, Dave's day in my life, Steve's day in my life, Mary's day in my life, and do a getting ready with me, or do a POV video. And you do one really, really well. And then you run the hell out of those. There's your ad campaign.
Yeah, and then I would do it like Casey Neistat style. I can't think of who the other guy is, but I would look at the vloggers that were really popular when this was a thing. And I would include like you going to baseball. I would include you taking care of your son, like all the personal stuff, not just the patient care.
Oh, yeah. Day in the life. But I would also, so while you're highlighting that work-life balance, I would show the hard parts of the job. Like I said this before, we ran a full color page newspaper ad twice a year as a contest for the radio station I ran. And the contest worked like this. We printed a script that you had to look into a camera and read. So we needed to see your personality, how do you sound, whatever. And the script was, I want a job working for 97.9X. I'm going to work for state minimum wage. I'm going to work nights and weekends. I'm going to be last on the list to get any free CDs or concert tickets. This is the hardest job in Northeast Pennsylvania, and I'm here to get it. Like, essentially, it was you saying out loud, I want the hard thing and I'm willing to work for it. And then we did a contest. We brought finalists in to be on the air with me for an hour. And then the audience, the listeners voted on who would be your next radio DJ for the weekends. I think Dave's clinic position, out of 100 clinicians, Dave, how many people would actually be good fits working with you out of 100?
10 to 20.
Good.
Maybe.
This is a weed out. Like, this is the few, the proud, the Marines, right?
So it's like, it's the travel thing. Plus it's like, it's not just like treating random patients. It's like, you have to have the intangibles, the soft skills. You got to be presentable. You got to like have your A game turned on all the time. So yeah. It's multiple things. I haven't made it easy on myself. Let's be honest.
Yes, but that's why you're able to charge so much, right? Because New Yorkers on the reverse, like, I don't want to go out of the house and have to truck my ass 50 blocks to go to that clinic. We can pay more. We did this at Fox and they turned it around. So I came in one day and had a steal this strategy moment at Fox. They're like, how do we increase number of applications of geriatric clinicians wanting to work for Fox? I said, let's change a word. They said, what word? I said, we don't take applications. I'm going to steal it from the Marines. We take commitments. So we changed the wording, right? Just one word change. But if I was, what's that, Rory Sutherland, a word or even like an image in an ad can change everything. So we changed applications to commitments. Well, the number of the number of people submitting to work with us went down. But when we looked at it long enough, we were finding better people. They changed it though, because somebody looked at the data months later, like, well, it's down. What did we change? We changed the wording, change it back. And your batting average went back down. So the number of at-bats went down, but our average went up. Somebody didn't like that because they were probably being graded on number of at-bats and not batting average. So I don't know. Commitments feels like this is not your average job. I'd lean into that if I were recruiting for a hard job.
Around this video style, Scott Embry on the LinkedIn Live right now, he said, he said these videos get a lot of views on YouTube. I'm pretty sure he's referencing like the day in the life video. Yeah. Tony, have you seen that on YouTube? Like the day in the life of whatever gets a lot of views compared to just like normal like videos?
I've never seen PT versions of that get a ton of views. There are a couple female PT influencers that put out those videos and they've done well on Instagram, I think.
Yeah.
YouTube, not so much, but I like Jimmy said, it's not about views. It's not about monetizing the views. It's about finding the right person.
I would pay you ad.
I would have said you personally, I don't even think 1 in 100 is really the right fit for you because what you do is so tailored and so unique. But regardless, I still think it's something that you absolutely should be doing.
Let's talk about this off air. I got to go to a meeting in 3 minutes. So let's do parting shot.
Grab it.
Parting shot.
All right. My parting shot real quick. Your best idea is hiding behind somebody who said that is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Whether it's serving BYOB alcohol at your next physical therapy visit, taking showers with your patients, or going on a cruise, your best idea is hiding behind your dumbest idea.
This has been one of the most unique, funny episodes, at least for me personally, that we've ever done. Video. We need my practice concierge pain relief. We need to do more video. I definitely want to do more stuff like Savannah Bananas, a ton of examples, a ton of tactical steps here, and not just theory, but actual things that you can actually implement. So that's my parting shot.
Yeah, don't be the old man screaming at clouds, right? Like, I think a lot of people who saw and if you look at Savannah Bananas, a lot of people were ready to light the stadium on fire. You are sacrilegious. This is ridiculous. Take the elements. Like he took the elements of the Harlem Globetrotters, right? And somebody did some research in the comments too. They said the reason they think that Harlem Globetrotters died out, they did it too much. They did they were doing 400 games a year, right? So I think history is taught because we want to make sure we don't repeat it, but take the elements, that's chemistry, right? And then figure out how to reconfigure those elements for today's society. And I think you got yourself something great. Make sure to subscribe to all the channels. We should have some sort of outro that says all this so we don't subscribe and make sure to click that bell and
smash the like button.
Smash that follow button, everybody. We'll see you guys.
Smash.
Hey, it's Dave Kittle. Are you a healthcare business owner or physical therapy practice owner who is looking to figure out your succession plan or exit strategy? We might be able to help. And in fact, we may be interested in acquiring your practice. If you're interested, you can reach out to me. Shoot me an email at dave@conciergepainrelief.com. That's DAVE@CONCIERGE painrelief.com. Or you can call me at any time, 646-781-8884.